Hi there, and welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where father and son sit down and talk about fantasy books. I'm the son of that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim. Glad to have you with us again for another one of our Wheel of Time episodes as we talk about, and I actually have the wrong background up behind me right now. You can see chapters 44 to 46 of The Fires of Heaven. I'm going to switch that while we chit chat because I want the background, but I didn't want all the stuff in the way.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting here going, what do you mean? Oh, you have the thumbnail background, not the background background.
Exactly. So
Fair
while
enough.
I work on that, Zach, tell me, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. We said in the last episode, which is not the last episode because that was 205 and this is 207 or something like that.
That's right. There's something in between now.
Yes, but we're recording these sets together, which I actually kind of like that we're doing because of what chapters we're going over. But we had a small break. I went and hopped on the Xbox with some of the guys from around.
Okay.
It was a good little 20-30 minutes, and I'm back. Broly got to go outside and use the bathroom.
Nice.
Now he's back too because he's my recording buddy.
I am debating whether later today I download Diablo 4 and play. I haven't done that yet.
About that, you're going to have an issue with that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they didn't make it for Mac.
I thought they did.
Nope.
I thought I saw they did both.
Nope.
Really?
They did not make Diablo 4, at least initially, with a Mac forward access version. I've actually had issues playing it so far because I got it and then realized that my graphics driver is not up to snuff. So I have it and haven't played it yet.
No, I don't have to worry about that now.
But yeah.
Forget them.
Or there are other methods and things. Or maybe this is what means you have to get a PC at some point.
That will never happen.
It's okay. Nope. It'll be a good decade before there's a Diablo 5, so you've got time.
All right. Well, good to know.
I have heard it's very, very fun, and I am very much looking forward to getting it working for myself. I may have to jump over to doing it on console because that'll be the most cost-effective for me.
I did hear from one friend that it wasn't as good as Diablo 3. That was his experience.
That's very possible.
After playing lots of Diablo 3, didn't really feel Diablo 4 stood up.
Stupid fun.
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right. Well, I don't have anything else to share. I'd love to share. We have more YouTube subscribers, but we're doing this one just, half an hour after completing the last episode. And in that short interim, no, we have not picked up yet another subscriber. Although I'm checking right now as I say that, just in case, because wouldn't that be cool?
Maybe we did and you didn't actually check.
That's right. So, nope, we're still at the same amount, but it's an amazing amount. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. We are glad to share our fun with you, and we'll try to keep doing that today. Part of sharing that fun is sharing our beverages. Zach,
yes.
You're drinking. What you drinking?
I did start actually drinking. I felt it was appropriate since we've got a lot of Aiel in the next couple of chapters here. To just drink some Usquay. So we've got whiskey and ice.
And I just made a drink that I could do quick again because I was working till almost last minute to prep for this episode again. So I just went with a nice gin martini. You don't make a dirty gin martini because olive brine and gin
the
flavor
of gin
does not go together.
Well, no.
Vodka if you want a dirty martini because vodka takes anything.
Truthfully, I don't think you need to say a gin martini. I think you can just say a martini, considering a martini was originally gin, and that's why you say vodka martini when you're making it with vodka.
Well, this is a very good drink. When you have good gin, makes a great gin martini. Sorry, martini. Okay. Was there something else to discuss? Something was in my mind for just a moment, and then it's not, which means
I don't know.
I'm just getting old.
That's been happening for a while.
I do remember what I wanted to say. I worked long and hard to find a city that I could say, look, Cairhien, kinda.
What did you find that you ended up going with?
I don't remember which city this is. It's someplace in Europe. and it had a lot of towers, and it looks old. I did look at the city of Bologna, Italy, because it has famous towers. And if you look back historically, it had a ridiculous amount of towers all over. Most of them have collapsed over time. There's just a few that have been maintained that are historic. I learned something when I was doing my research.
Okay.
And Cairhien may have been patterned after that style of city.
But you didn't include it because it looks modern now?
Yeah, because there's only like 2 towers now. I wanted one with lots of towers.
I mean, to be fair, Cairhien doesn't have that many towers anymore.
And a lot of these look like they're not finished from a distance. So, all right, that's what I got.
Excuse me.
Woo, you are excused. And we have some great stuff to talk about today again, because we left off in the fires of heaven in the midst of the massive battle outside the walls of Cairhien, and it was not decided yet. Okay, we were just heating up. You got Rand and Egwene and Avienda chucking power at the Aiel, and you've got Matt trying to get away and getting sucked into helping out as a battle leader, basically.
Ambushing an ambush.
And that's where we left things. So we're going to see how that goes, because these are 3 more chapters right here in Cairhien. Chapter 44, The Lesser Sadness.
Well, that's a happy title.
So the Battle of Cairhien has been going on for hours. It's not quite midday yet, but we're here in Rand's POV at the start of this chapter. He's up on this high platform with Avienda and Egwene, and they're sending their power attacks out there. They've been doing this for hours. Rand is so tired, partly because he's holding on to Sidene all this time. Why would that tire someone out?
Because he's described it as being something you have to force your way, and you have to deal with both the raging fire of Sidene and the icky, oily taint.
Yeah. You struggle with it. And so he's been struggling all this time. And of course, channeling itself is an act of effort. The women, they look tired too, but he's noticed at least they've been taking turns. One is actively sending lightning bolts while the other is resting, but they aren't as strong as he is. So they're pretty worn out too. Now, through the telescope, Rand has watched the groups of Aiel moving out there, both Rand's Aiel and Couladin's forces battling on. And when he could do something that would make a difference, he he pops another pimple, as you said last time, blows up another mountaintop, fireballs them. Yeah. But, he doesn't want to hit the friendlies, so he can't do that everywhere. But as he's been watching how things are playing out, he's also seen a group of Terran and Cairhienan soldiers in the mix. And he's a little frustrated at that. Why would that be?
Because he told them to sit on the bench. In case they were needed.
Coach never put them in, and there they are. But from what he can tell, they appear to be holding their own, which is a little surprising to Rand, because he's seen them 3 different occasions out there. They're not getting smashed to smithereens somehow. Rand observes a group of Aiel at this point about to make it into the city. See, the city had opened its gates to kind of get to some of their people who were out there and injured and trying to get them into safety. At least I think that's exactly what had happened at that point. But some of the Aiel, Couladin's group, saw and make a charge for the gates. And some of the forces are trying to stop them, but Rand's like, it's looking like this is bad. They're going to get in this time. They can't get those doors in fast enough, because some of the other guys are still forcing their way through. Some of the good guys, they won't get out of the way. If the Aiel get inside the city, this is a whole nother issue of problem. Trying to picture rooting them out, building to building, street to street.
And even just fighting at the walls, a defensible fortress, is significantly harder than an open hill.
Right. So Rand takes matters into his own hands. There's clouds up above that the women created for lightning. He just uses those clouds and makes his own lightning right smack down into the center of where this is happening, just in front of the doors. Body parts go flying in all directions, but he's pretty sure he probably got some friendlies too this time.
Which, like,
There was no
not
helping it.
good. Sucks. Kind of makes sense in an understandable, like, yeah, it had to happen way.
Yeah. The cold part of his mind is like, it really doesn't matter. It had to happen. You do what you got to do. And then Rand feels something else. Now, at this point, when he just did this action, it's like, oh, it almost takes everything out of him. He is so drained at this point. And he feels a man channeling. Right now, he feels a man channeling. He's like, so, Asmodean has decided to take advantage of how tired I am after all. I knew I couldn't trust that guy. And lightning strikes start out close to them and moving in closer. And this happens fast. And they're hitting the maidens then that are guarding him. And maidens are going flinging all over. And then it actually hits the platform. The platform starts to go. Rand grabs at Egwene and Avienda and tries to hold on to a strut of the platform. You know, as it starts to go sideways, what was a wall is now a ceiling. You know, he grabs one of those and tries to hang on as they go over sideways. And it's just too jarring as it's toppling. And he does lose his grip. And they go down hard. He tries to cushion the blow for the women as well as he can. And Rand's a big dude, so he can try this. But he ends up out cold.
Yeah.
He wakes up.
Well, that's a good thing.
He thinks it's just a short time later. And there's Avienda hovering over him, talking to him, basically urging him not to be dead. Which he is thankful personally that he's not dead. At this point, he hasn't opened his eyes. He just hears her. But her words are significant. I'm going to read this quote, and then I want you to tell us what the heck this is about. What should we hear in this quote? She says, this is only part of what she says, but this is the crux. I need you. Not for myself. You will understand. For Elaine. What is between her and me now is between her and me, but I will hand you to her. I will. If you die, I will carry your corpse to her. Okay, what's going on?
She made a promise to Elaine. Then she slept with Rand and now feels like she's got tow, but there's a whole bunch of other mess, but she's still going to keep her promise and make sure that Rand gets to Elaine because he's Elaine's.
At this point, he does open his eyes and says, I'm not dead yet. That's not the exact line, but that's the point. And then he takes a moment to ascertain his circumstances. He realizes he's fortunate to have a mind left at all. Heck, to be breathing. For a particular reason. Do you recall what crosses his mind? It had to do with Saidin.
So it's just the fact that he was holding it in that moment?
Yeah. If you lose control when you're holding Saidin, he knows the impacts can be horrific.
It's a little bit lucky we didn't end up with the dragon mount.
You can fry your brain. You can fry out your ability to ever touch Saidin again. You could just plain out die, or you can go dragon mount. Sure, take out a whole bunch of people around you as you just go off in a catalytic explosion.
Turns out, I am the nuke.
So fortunately, all he did was blackout. He is a bit sore, though, and he particularly reaches to his old, unhealed wound in his side.
One that Ballsy gave him way back in Falmouth.
Yeah, it's always been tender. Well, that sucker's broken right open again, and he's bleeding pretty good. But he's like, I'm used to it. It's not a fresh wound. It is a flesh wound, but it's not a fresh wound.
Still kill you, Rand.
He's like, I'm going to pretend that's not there and not tell anybody because then they will stop me from doing what I have to do.
Yes.
Getting to his feet, forget the aches, Oh, and that's really easy now, because as he looks around, he sees all the injured and dead maidens. Maidens, maidens everywhere.
Hmm.
The
Now the
last thing he
emotional
wanted
pain
to
is
see.
worse.
Oh, man. It's like Rand is treating these as his children. The
Which,
last thing a parent ever wants to see is their children hurt.
like,
And
it
that's what
sucks
he's
for
done to
Rand.
these maidens. He will do whatever he has to. He will take on whatever he has to if he can protect them from being hurt, which they do not
Yeah,
want.
it sucks for Rand, but it's also really, really not cool. Like, has a complete lack of understanding, or to a certain extent, respect for them and how they view things.
He just can't wrap his mind around their culture, the way they approach the world. Now, he can still trace the residue of the attack that did this to them, and he realizes this wasn't Asmodean. It
Mm-mm.
didn't come from Asmodean's direction. This came from the south, from a distance. So he knows who it is. At least he's pretty sure. And that would be who?
This
Who's
is
down that way?
another attempt from Samael to go ahead and just lure him away. Say, hey, you've got all this going on. Yeah, yeah. But I'm going to kill a whole bunch of people that you care about. Maybe even kill you. Come and get me.
And that's the smart move here. Because Rand, he's like, Samuel! It's almost a Khan moment. Khan! Samuel! And Avienda and Egwene are next to him like, whoa, whoa, cool your jets, dude. And they slap some sense to him without physically slapping him. Egwene's like, think about this. What, you're going to go after Samael right now? Why do you think he waited until now to strike? And answer that question, Zach. Why do you think Samael waited till this moment to strike out?
Because it'd been going on long enough. It was a strike of opportunity. And Rand's weakness, one, he can get hit easily. Two, even if he doesn't die, even if it's not that big of an effect, if Rand goes, Samael, like you're saying, and goes and charges after, just a nifty little pew away from winning.
Easy pickings.
I
And
win again, lose
Avienda
turn.
then turns on him and says, hey, and you can't be going off, taking care of other stuff anyways. You owe us. This is a matter of honor. Where do you have more honor? Running off after Samael or being present for those who followed over the dragon wall for you? Those who need you here now. He's like, oh, dang it. Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
a physical slap, but Avienda, we love you for this.
He acknowledges they are right. He will not go after Samael right now. Eventually, but not now. But he does need to move closer to the city. He can't stay here now. Now that he has no platform, he can't be of help from this distance. He's going to have to move closer. So he wants his horse. Avienda's fine. Okay, calls for Rand's horse and Egwene's horse. He's like, that's not what I said to do. She's still going to do Avienda. Sulin is there, gathering up maidens who are not injured to accompany Rand.
Well, we're glad to see Sulin's alive.
Yeah, but Sulin's hurt.
Yeah, but she's coming
Rand's
anyway.
like, hey, if maidens have to come, fine, but only the non-injured ones. And Sulin, and she just stares at him. Yeah. I'm not hurt.
The non-injured ones and Sulin, because Sulin is looking at you and going, hey, if you're going,
I am not hurt. I'm fine.
It's just a flesh wound.
There is no wound. There is no pain. Yeah. But she does scrupulously go around and make sure the only maidens coming are the non-injured. She's just different.
She's built different.
Rand notes to himself how cold and calculating he's getting. And again, he pokes at himself again and again like this. But he's realizing that, in essence, he really doesn't have an issue. That Avienda, Egwene, maidens are going to come with him now because he may be able to use them. That's all that seems to matter. If he can use people, he's going to use them. Is Rand being too hard on himself by again and again raking himself over the coals over this?
Yes and no. Like, it's a valid thing to be like, I'm using people, that's not good. But he's not really doing that anymore. No, he's highlighting it and using that highlight almost as a defense. He's going, oh no, I'm trying to protect the maintenance. Oh no, this, that, whatever. And he's clinging on to, I have to be this way. I have to. And it's like, no, yes, but no. You have to do what you have to do, and that's okay. But you don't have to view it as, I have to be a bad person, which he is. Not that he is a bad person, rather.
I was going to say, wait, which he is a bad person?
He's viewing it that way. He's viewing it as, this is something that, this is what I have to be. I have to become this. And it's like, you can still be you, but also you doesn't have to be this other person and you're becoming something else. You can morph and change and evolve your identity,
right,
to become something better.
Yeah. Aviendha mounts up with Egwene, and as they head off, Rand grasps Saidin again. Good idea? It definitely feels harder to do this than it ever has before. But it does have the positive that it dulls his pain.
Yeah, at the very least, it's a little bit of a hair of the dog going on here.
Okay.
In a number of ways, including you get a little buzzed, you don't feel the pain.
And now he figures, at least when Samael comes for him again, he'll be ready. This time, he'll be ready. Now, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit in the story and just say, yes, he is. Because Samael will come after him throughout the day still, a couple more times at least. And Rand is able to fight it off. And in fact, the last time, he kind of flings something back along the pathway. And it wasn't balefire, nothing like that. But whatever he did, and it was something he just knew, you know, that memory thing, he did it, and it was almost like Samael went, ow, you know, and that was enough from Samael. No more.
That being said, Samael is absolutely being a coward. He's looking down at the ants and going, I'm gonna just drop some stones, and then one of them bites him for a moment. He goes, ooh, my finger, I'm gonna leave. I'm good.
Yep.
I'm good.
But we will come back to Rand later. Now we're gonna jump to Matt's POV.
Yo, Matt.
Where he's now leading this whole group of Cairhien and Terrans, about 3,000 soldiers. Most of what he started with. Not all, but that's most of it. He's managed to keep them together. And he's looking for a way to extricate themselves from the battle. In fact, he's been doing that from the time he helped them with that initial ambush to get them out of the fight. But the fight keeps finding them. The troops believe he's looking for the next battle for them. Because they've been through 3 battles with him now, and they've done well.
Won well with minimal losses.
People have died, but they've come through. They've overcome each time. So they've seen how he's handled each of these situations. They're impressed. Some of them are flat out in awe at Matt's ability. And so they figure, we've done it 3 times, and he's searching so hard. He's trying to find us another target. Yeah, no.
Not really.
Matt's wondering where his bloody luck is gone.
You know, Matt, it's right there. Because while you're putting yourself in harm's way and other people, objectively, you're saving a lot more people by getting in fights and winning these fights.
There's truth in that.
Because other people aren't having to fight. So it is lucky that you're having to deal with this.
Every time he shifts his men to a new location, the battle seems to shift right along with him.
Yep.
He cannot break free. As he's at this point looking around from a high point with his personal looking glass, he senses the best path to take, there it is ironically one that would lead them right back to where he started out. He hasn't gotten anywhere yet.
Yeah.
He's thinking this may just end up with me back in camp. I mean, which he cringes
probably.
at. Partly because if Moraine finds out that he actually tried to leave, she may never let him have another chance. He's like, Moraine has her hooks in me, you know. And of course, he's thinking that one other thing about Aes Sedai and him.
Also might take the medallion and study him and all these things that he's like, I'm not a science experiment and my stuff is my stuff.
But then there's also Melindra waiting back at camp, and here we get absolute confirmation. Yeah, he just ducked out and didn't say anything to her. He's pretty sure that won't go well.
No, it'll go fine because she won't find out that he left because he'll be back. So it'll be fine. Maybe.
That's maybe. Still looking through the telescope, Matt realizes Rand's position has been attacked by lightning. Oh, that's not good. The one power being used against him is like, okay, assuming Rand hasn't gone insane yet, and I love this. This is humor. And assuming Egwene and Avienda haven't finally had it with him and decided to just get rid of him, he actually has that thought go through his head.
It's valid.
Matt jumps to the next conclusion, and I think this is quite a leap, but it might be Samael coming after him. Why would Matt be able to think of that? Why would he go there?
Because that's who it was talked about. The attack that involved in the waste, Samael and his bees and the whole thing, the Dark Hounds, all that mess. Matt knows that's tied to Samael.
Right.
And he's going to be thinking of that's a big rival, that's a big enemy here.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the tactical move to do that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's where his mind goes. He thinks tactics. Well said, Zach.
Yeah, I don't think he's privy to the information that it's a tactic that Samael has used in the past to these kinds of things. He just can figure out that it would make sense.
Now, as he's pondering his next move and thinking about what may be happening with Rand, the leaders of his group, of the various Terran and Cairhien troops, they approach him. So, specifically, Estion and... Nalessian?
I
think it's Nalessian. And then Tomanes,
actually.
Maybe. And then Tomanes and Darad. So Estion and Nalessian, those are Terran lords. Tomanes and Darad are Cairhien. They report to him, Aiel are coming straight at them. A group of about 5,000. Now, how many did I say Matt has?
About 3,000.
So,
take.
Bigger number, but they don't likely know we're here. Because they've been seen by our scouts staying down in between the hills, down in the low areas. Why would they do that, Zach?
Sorry, who's been in the low areas? I've missed what we were saying.
The Shido haven't seen them up here because they're staying down there. Why?
Because Rand's been blowing up the hills.
Yeah, they don't go on pimple tops.
If they go
figured
on the top,
this out.
They get blown up.
But so that's messing with their line of vision. They can't see what's ahead of them right now. We get some comic relief here. Because the men report, literally, the Aiel, they'll be on top of us before they see us. And Matt responds, that is just bloody wonderful. Now, that was sarcasm, but the Terrans completely miss that. They take his words as genuine. Yes, our next battle! We can prove our superiority 3 against 5. We got this! The Cairhienans, they have their heads screwed on a little better. They catch Matt's tone. Yeah, this could be a problem. The 3 battles earlier do include the first one, okay, springing the Aiel ambush and then catching them by surprise. But then there were 2 others where they ended up in positions where it was either catch the Aiel or be caught by the Aiel. There was no third option of avoiding the Aiel.
Yeah.
And Matt feels like that's what keeps happening. His choices keep being removed, and here we go again. So he starts setting up a plan for this engagement. And Darad shares that scouts have reported Couladin himself is with this group. Matt's like, of course he is.
Yep, because that's what we need.
Oh, dang it.
That makes total sense.
As Matt gives them all their orders, one of them wishes him well in his encounter with Couladin. And then Darad encourages him, stay here with the pikemen. Don't let your anger over Couladin draw you into personal duel. And Matt's like, do you even know me?
Why would I? This man was born with a spear in his hand, and I've been trying to get away this entire time.
But this is how they've come to see Matt. He's brilliant. He's amazing. He's a military genius. Of course, he'll go after the Shido leader. Who wouldn't?
Most sane people.
Matt promises Darren, I'm sure I can hold myself in check. And
I'm
Darren
sure he
is like,
could, but will it happen?
Yeah, I'm sure you can. Of course you can. I mean, I've seen you in action enough. I respect your ability, your self-discipline. And Talmanes, he's been saying he'll follow Lord Matt anywhere. You're that amazing. But you're young, and young men have hot blood.
Look, he ain't got hot blood. It's cold. It's Manethrin Drell cold.
Matt's just left shaking his head. Again, it's all on the inside. He's got an appearance to hold up, but are they all freaking mad, is what he's thinking. Talmanes is praising me? Personal duels? I'm Matrim Coffin. I don't do these things.
Wills.
What the reality facing Matt is not matching the image Matt has of himself.
Granted, Matt does have to keep in mind that he did end up, with his sarcasm and crassness, ending up challenging two people to a duel at once.
And
he won.
The best part of this plan is what we see at the end of this POV section. Matt and Darren are actually in the group that's staying right here where they're at, right in the line of where Couladin is coming. All the others have gone around, so they'll create kind of a pincer thing and then spring upon them from the sides and back. But they're waiting until the Shido come into sight. And when they see them, then they're all supposed to look startled, scared, and yell, "Protect the Lord Dragon!" as they flee. It's brilliant. But what is that about? What are they trying to do?
They're trying to get Couladin to go, "This is my chance," and chase after them without any concern for doors and corners.
Into the trap. Absolutely. It's brilliant. Now, the chapter ends back with Rand. It's now evening, the battle having gone on through the whole day. Rand is still on his horse. He's exhausted. He's beyond exhausted, but he's staying strong, holding on to Saidin, using his little Buddha man Angreal in his pocket, drawing through that. He's practically delirious because he's so tired now. And the maidens around him, they have taken note. They've grabbed his horse. They're turning it around. They're leading him back to camp now. He does groggily notice Egwene and Avienda aren't there anymore. Kind of like, where'd they go? What happened?
They went to seek medical attention and sleep because they need it.
One of the maidens says a comment like, they happen to know they're not made of stone, but flesh and blood. Unlike some people. Exactly. Rand is so exhausted. His thoughts are a mess, jumping all around. And we see something interesting happening with his brain, with his thought patterns. What is that, Zach? What do we get to see here?
We see a firsthand little bit of account of what he attributes to the madness and those memories, those ones that kind of blend back and forth. And Rand's a little bit dissociating. He's not always feeling like he's Rand. He's sometimes feeling like he's Luce there in Telamon.
He's thinking Luce's thoughts, and he's feeling they're his. He's owning memories that he didn't live through. And it's just kind of blending. Yeah. Back in the camp, Lan makes it clear to Rand, dude, the battle's over. Because Rand's like, I need to get out by my people. I need to help. He's like, no, there's nothing else. You've won. You've completely won.
Some Shido running away. That's it.
And the wise ones of the other Aiel clans, they're here now meeting with our wise ones. They're making it together. They're coming over to our side, Rand. There's no one else left to fight. You can rest. Rand's like, oh, okay.
I'm going to go to sleep now.
He releases Saidin and instantly convulses in pain and falls off his horse. Because that was the only thing holding him together. The power. Lan and the maidens literally catch him. And Lan sees he's bleeding. From that side wound, he's bleeding quite a bit. So he's lost a bunch of blood. He's in bad shape. He calls for more rain. Get over here. It's Rand. And Sulin is just cradling Rand's head, urging him, hold on, Rand, hold on. And the last thing he senses is Asmodean looking at him bleakly, and a trickle of Sidene flowing from him into Rand. End of chapter. What's that about?
That is admittedly a little confusing here and there on a couple of things. But I imagine we'll visit it again because we can't confirm or deny whether this is good or bad at this second.
Chapter 45. Our final chapter our second chapter for today. So many chapters we've done today. Okay. This is an interesting Matt point of view. As we learn from his recollections at the beginning of this chapter, that he and his men made it back to the camp after all, just like he was afraid would happen. Most of his men are celebrating like crazy. The victory! They're drunk off their butts. Some of them have already passed out with joy. They're toasting Matt's leadership. They're just so wowed and impressed at this new leader. The injured amongst them have been healed, are recuperating. Matt, he was injured. He has not been healed. He doesn't really want that. He's been sewn up. So he's kind of sore. How did he get injured? In a battle with frickin' Couladin.
He got stabbed a little. Like a little.
But you should see the other guy.
You can. He's right up there.
His head on that post. Right over there.
Yeah.
Matt killed Couladin. You can't make this stuff up. Well, I mean, Robert Jordan did.
He did.
The last thing Matt Cawthon wants to be is a hero, and now he's literally a bloody hero.
Well, yeah.
Melindra caught up with him.
As the book is going to worry about it, that's as much as we're going to worry about it.
Right here now, we see Melindra catch up with him. Oh, now he's going to get it. He's like, and she's like, she's cool. She's like, I'm sorry that I left and went out. And she's like, of course you left. You had to pursue your own honor. You're not going to stay in the shade of Rand. Again, Melindra has talked him up like this before. Mm-hmm. He's a great man. He should pursue greatness. The glory.
Yeah, anyone who ever says think of the glory, to be scared, it's sus.
So she's convinced he literally sought out Couladin, and dude's got much G now. Yeah, this is my man. Of course he took out Couladin. He's a rock star in her mind now.
He's not bad with a spear for a wetlander.
Talmanes comes up, shares that the nobles of Cairhien have invited Rand into the city, and they're setting up a procession of honor. And you need to go and ask the Lord Dragon that we get to be up front with him in the place of honor. And Matt's like, why? So why? Why does Talmanes think that's where they belong?
Because truthfully, they should have the honor of the battle as well, considering at least half the fight and credit for it belongs to Matt and his ragtag group that he ran into.
I picture when Matt looks at him and goes, why? Talmanes looks at that head on the post and looks back at it.
And he's like, what do you mean, why? You killed the fake one, mm-hmm. and then everyone ran away? Like, you're the hero, you're the MVP?
Matt wants none of this, though. This is not what is important to him. So he's like, fine. Talmanes and Nalesian are both there. And he says to them, you guys, go ahead. Go ask. It's important. Go ahead. That's fine.
Ask in my stead. They're
like,
here.
We can't do that. You're our battle leader, our general. He's like, oh, are you kidding me? I'm their general now?
I'm a farm boy.
In fact, they go next level. They both swear they will follow Matt anywhere now. His connection to Rand al'Thor is irrelevant. What they saw from him today throughout the day, they are his men.
One,
And
that's not great because Matt just wants to get away, and now he never will because people want to follow him. Two,
I will follow you.
it's arguable
wherever
that
you
statement,
go.
if it weren't for the fact that Matt's like super chill about it and also like friends with Rand, is tantamount to treason.
They go next level then too, and there's a little rivalry. Again, Talmanes, Cairhien, Nalessian, Terran Lord.
Correct.
It's like, I will send my groom to you to help like clean you up and get you ready to speak with Rand. Oh, I will send mine too. They can both work on it. They both are pushing their grooms on him for the honor of serving Lord Matt.
I could take a bath without someone scrubbing my back.
Matt just cannot believe this. As you said, he just wants to get away. And now he's in thicker than ever. Dang, Taviran! Oh, humorous note, side thing here. His men are loving the song Jack of the Shadows. Now, this is something Matt, from a distant memory, pulled in. Okay. As they were coming back from the battle and some of them were really dinged up and hurt, he taught them the song as a distraction. Get their minds off of how they felt and the challenges of their current situation. And it took off. And everywhere around the camp, he hears guys singing this song out. It's become their bloody anthem. And he wishes he'd never shared this song. What is this song about, after all?
Dancing with Death. And in many ways, it's the Aiel interpretation of dancing. It's being casual and friendly, but also like daring death to come and take a poke at you.
It's great. All right. The POV jumps back to Rand now. Pain is gone. Moraine actually healed him. Avienda is with him. And that's how he learns this, as she berates him for it even having been necessary. You know, you shouldn't have acted in such a way and put yourself in such a position that Moraine had to heal you.
She's correct. However, the amount of ire we're getting here is not just Rand, you're stupid. It's also, I was worried about you.
You scared me. Yeah. Asmodean is here as well. The look on both of them makes it look like they haven't gotten any sleep at all. It's been a long night as they've just sat and waited over Rand. So whatever channeling Asmodean did at Rand, he still seems to be concerned for Rand. Why would Asmodean be concerned for Rand? There is a very logical reason.
Quick little connection here going. Asmodean tried to potentially help Rand, has been helping Rand here and there. That puts him on the wrong side of the other Forsaken, makes him look like a turncoat, which he kind of is. Not necessarily by choice, but he is. And Samael just attacked directly.
Yeah.
Which means he probably knows.
Possibly. Asmodean's only chance is for Rand to still be around to keep him safe. So, I'm with you. So that channeling we sensed may have been a little initial healing. Just enough to give Moraine time to get to him. So I mentioned how Avienda gave him a hard time for putting himself in this position. Asmodean does as well, but in a different way. Kind of describing how I have heard that when people channel so long and in such a manner, really bad things can happen. Yeah. Basically, you could have burned yourself out. You could have killed yourself. You're the Dragon Reborn dude. Don't do that. We get some details now. Avienda shares the Shadowr finished. Thousands have been captured. Only a trickle of fighting still is happening anywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the last we'll hear about the Shido.
Absolutely, they're done. The wise ones of Rand's Aiel are still meeting with the wise ones from the newly joining clans. They're working things out. We'll hear more when that's done, but it seems to be going smoothly.
It turns out it's pretty easy to convince people that you're the real Cairhien when the other one's dead.
That helps, yeah. There were Shido who got away across the river, and they destroyed the bridges behind them. Now, there's more than one river involved here. They didn't go across the big river. They went across the little river. So they went to the north. Okay. They didn't go over into Andor. They went further north in Cairhien, but they ripped down the bridges. So they can't be chased. Not easily.
Not without building new bridges.
Even pontoon bridges, rafts of some sort. It still takes time. So they're on the run, and we can't follow at the moment. But it's just a few thousand or so. Oh, and Matt killed Couladin. And Rand's like, wait, what?
Because first off, going, what? Matt was involved?
Second, like, is your hearing
Matt killed
hurt?
Couladin?
I said Matt killed Couladin. It's cool. It's done.
It's cool, Ladin.
Aha. Rand remembers then something from his delirium the night before. And this is just a small thing, but I wanted to mention it again. He remembers a name, Tel Janin Elensar, which is Samael's original name, which nobody knows. He had talked to Moraine about what is known about the Forsaken, and they don't know who they were before they became Forsaken. That information is lost, she said, and yet he's remembered that name.
If he wasn't so scared about what Moraine would do to him if he was actually insane, he should probably go tell her this and see what more they could come up with.
Yeah. These memories are things he can't possibly know, and yet he knows. It's growing more and more disturbing. But regardless, Samael, that dude is gonna be dead. That's what he's really focused on, his revenge for all these maidens that were killed. He can't wait. So he wants to get up and get busy. He's got plans he needs to move forward with now, and there's no point delaying. And yet he realizes he's naked under his blankets.
Oops.
And seeing there's no clothes in sight. So he asks for his clothes, and Aviendha says, oh, no, you need rest. Things can wait till tomorrow. Rand wants to know why the nobles of Cairhien and the people he left in charge, his Terran lords, why aren't they here to speak with him? Asmodean shares, oh, they were, and Aviendha's like, you weren't supposed to tell him that. He needs to rest. Yeah. So Lord Mylan was here. That was the head of the Terran High Lords that had come on this humanitarian mission. He's, I guess, in charge of the city because he has the highest rank. And he was here to see Rand and was turned away. The maidens wouldn't let him in. He got quite angry, apparently. He was practically dragged away under threats by the maidens, and he was shouting his fealty to Rand. I am your man. I am ready to give you the city. Rand's not impressed by that. He literally says, we have old sayings in the Two Rivers. The louder someone tells you how much they are true to you, the more false they probably are being.
Also, let's just go to the small side point here where Rand said that people from Tyr were specifically not supposed to conquer. What do you mean you're giving me the city? It's not yours to give.
Asmodean kind of agrees with Rand's take on Mylan. He's thinking a little too highly of himself. He's trying to profess his loyalty so much. I think he wants to be king here. He's hoping if he sucks up to you enough, you'll just leave him in charge permanently. Subject to Rand, of course. Cairhien nobles also showed up, tried to get to Rand. Were also turned away by the maidens. There was even a threat that if they kept pushing, they would be stripped and whipped. And apparently there was a moment where some of them considered going through the stripping and whipping if it would allow them to get through to Rand. They're that desperate to talk to him. But when it became clear, no, we mean stripped and whipped and still don't see him. Oh, okay, well, then there's not much point. But two in particular, a Lord Dobrain and a Lady Culliver, settled for talking to his bard, the official bard of the Dragon Reborn. So Asmodean had words, and it's like, it's hard to read in their subtle back talk and innuendo and all, but I think they mean to give you the Sun Throne. I'm pretty sure that's what they're offering. What's the Sun Throne?
It's the throne of Cairhien.
So you got one noble from Tyr who wants to give him the city and hope that you make him king, maybe. And then you got a couple of the high nobles of Cairhien who want to make him king. And I'm like, wait a second. His people are here and in charge. He can be king. You don't have to give him anything.
It's a little funny because if Rand was really malicious about this plan of his to be king has been in the working for, I don't know, a year more now, back when he accidentally got the past king killed. So
he didn't get the past king
he
killed.
Accidentally did, absolutely, because it's his fault that
Tom's the one that got him killed.
Yeah, but it's his fault that they went after Tom and they killed Dina.
Okay, that's true.
Which is what Tom then went. So, like, it's not his fault, but it's kind of his fault.
Now, one last thing that was shouted out to Rand was that when you're ready, I will have a grand procession ready for you. Remember, that's what Talmanas and Nalessian were talking to Matt about, this procession. Mylan is the one setting this up. And Rand's like, I'm not playing any of these games around here. I need to get to the city now before they have time to set things up. No, I just need to show up and deal with stuff. Asmodean, get my horse. He's like, hey, do you serve me or do you serve Avienda? Get my horse.
I will
yes,
do
Lord
this.
Dragon.
I will ride bareback.
So off he goes. That's the end of the chapter. But chapter 46 is a direct continuation. It's called Other Battles, Other Weapons. And the first of these other battles is Rand trying to get past Avienda. There's a fun little exchange. Because Rand is trying to leave, but he does need clothes.
Yeah.
And he can't find his clothes. And Avienda's saying, fine, you want to leave? Find your clothes. If you can find clothes, you can go. And he can't find his clothes. But eventually does, because he realizes Avienda won't move for some reason. She's sitting on his clothes. That's a nice moment. I enjoy it. It's like, fine. And then she stands there and stares at him. In other words, I am going to watch you get dressed then. How about that?
It's another deterrent, except for the fact that you've seen him naked at this point.
And then he's like, you said I'm for Elaine. Does it not bother you then to watch me like this? She's like, hey, she doesn't control what people see. Yes, you're hers, but I can still watch. Like, oh my goodness, that's a loaded comment right there.
Avienda wants to watch.
Finally dressed, he exits the tent, and the maidens around the tent leap to their feet, ready to protect, guard, do what they need to do. Asmodean comes up with his horse, and Rand gets on up, and he pulls Avienda up with him, because you better believe she's not letting him out of her sight. They ride through the camp. They're heading toward the city. Rand notes something new with many of the Aiel now. They're wearing a headband with two teardrops hugging each other. We know what that is.
It's the ancient symbol of the Aes Sedai.
Just like on the dragon banner, Rand's banner. But they won't talk about why they're wearing those. They won't even admit they're wearing one. Not all of the Aes Sedai have it, but some are wearing this headband. Even some of the Guy Shane are wearing it. Guy Shane only wear white. But nope, some are wearing the dragon banner. What? And apparently, while no one wants to discuss this, there is a word going around for the people doing this. They're being called the Siswayaman, which in the old tongue, Rand knows, is called the Spear of the Dragon. And I didn't put it in the notes here, but it ties with the fact that this belief they're coming to grips with, that we are merely a weapon in the dragon's hand. He's going to use us, and that's all that's important. He may use us up, but that's our purpose. We are here to be his spear. Fatalist, man.
Yeah, it's
Fatalist.
not quite like nihilistic because there is a reason, there's a point, that's a thing, but it's our reasons and points don't matter. We're just his weapon.
We have this bit about they believe life is but a dream. Now it's shifting to life is but Rand's dream. We are his dream. When he
And,
wakes up, we're gone.
It pairs well with Rand viewing people as tools.
It does. One extra note. Traveling along with Rand, there's a Cairhien refugee, Pevin, a man who lost his family, his wife, his children, in all this Aiel stuff with Couladin's people. And he is now taken to Rand as his bannerman. Like he has nothing else to live for. He has the dragon banner. And he rides at Rand's side, holding this ancient symbol of the Aes Sedai.
Which, good for him, but also, like, yeah, you said it. He's got nothing else to live for because you're the target.
People kill bannermen.
It's
Riding
one of the
on
biggest
further.
ways to keep communication at this time and tell whose men are whose.
Yeah.
Kill them first.
Very dangerous. Riding on further, Rand sees Hadnan Kadir's wagons still circled up nearby, under watch by some stone dogs to make sure nothing happens to them. And Moraine is out there just now. She seems to be examining the wagon where that door frame Terangrial is tied down, making sure all is well. And Rand has the thought that he's still kind of shocked Kadir is still here. I mean, we're over the Dragon Wall. Why has he not gone and disappeared, escaped like a sentry did? What should we remember about that?
A sentry was murdered by Kadir.
Yeah.
And then slowly dismantled and disposed of.
Apparently that was effective because they think she escaped.
Yeah.
Riding past, Moraine looks up, gives Rand a glance, and then just goes back to her business. She doesn't try to speak to him. Interesting. Rand and his escort, nearly 500 maidens of the spear. They head to the city, and this is causing a bit of a stir. They pass through the gates, they enter. It's like, ah! But a Terran officer on duty at the gates, he does recognize Rand. And he starts shouting stuff like, "Make way for the Lord Dragon! All glory to the Dragon Reborn!" and stuff like that. And as Rand proceeds, the people of Cairhien, just the commoners, they grow quiet. They silently watch him pass by. It's obvious looking at them, they've had a rough time of things, but there's something in their eyes now as they view him. They see hope. They see their savior. Those who can reach out and touch. I mean, they can't get close enough to Rand, but anybody in the party, they can touch a boot, a horse, anything. They're like, oh, the Dragon Reborn. The Dragon Reborn. That just kind of, that's the only thing anyone can hear. Murmurs of the Dragon Reborn. The Lord Dragon.
It's a big moment for him.
Eventually, Rand and company are met by Lord Mylan and a number of Terran soldiers who come from the other direction and start smashing Cairhien commoners out of the way, peasants, and apologizing. "My lord, we had a grand entry prepared for you, and we're so sorry about these peasants in your way. We wanted this proper welcome." And Rand's response is great. What is it?
"I have had one."
And what does he mean by that? Because Mylan's like,
this is the proper entrance. This is the grand event. It's him, authentically him. It is a bold statement. It's something that common folks actually are seeing and experiencing and showing he's not a stuffy noble, at least not in the way that you're used to. This is not a new conquering king from another kingdom. Not exactly. This is the Dragon Reborn. And just like with the Aiel, he brings change.
Yeah. Rand's been touched. This response, this is different. Yeah. Mylan clearly is displeased that Rand has blown up his grand plans. He's stealing all the thunder from what he'd hoped to put into place, which of course would have elevated Mylin's standing, he figures, Rand could care less.
Yeah.
He orders the Terran defenders, get in line, behind the maidens. And there's no more pushing these commoners out of the way. Rand is showing, I am different. My heart is with you, not these nobles. My heart is with you. Now, Mylin, he's like watching the crowds just part in honor and awe. And he can't understand how that's working. Must be they're afraid of the Aiel.
Yeah, it turns out you don't have to hit people to get them to like or respect you, Mylin.
Mylin's an idiot. It's just clear. The rest of the High Lords of Tyr that were sent ahead are waiting on the palace steps as the procession arrives there. And Rand, his move here is awesome as he goes all days Damar. He warmly greets some of them, shaking hands, patting shoulders. He smiles at another, then he stares coldly at two more and just walks by without comment. He leaves them all struggling. What did that mean? What's going on? Why is that so perfect here for him to pull that kind of stunt?
Because Cairhien is Days Damar. It is the place with this game. And it's not the first time that by just doing random ass shit, he's played the game well.
Days Damar is not as big a thing in Tyr, but these guys all know it's a Cairhien thing. And they've been in Cairhien now for a while. They're on heightened sensitivity to this sort of stuff. So yeah, he plays right into their fears. He thinks Moraine and Tom Marilyn would both approve of his move here. Now, none of these lords are actively plotting against him right now, as far as he knows, but he figures this will keep them occupied and out of trouble as they try to figure out why did he do that? What does he mean? Does he favor me? Have I done something wrong? They'll just drive themselves nuts with that and be too busy to scheme against him. He doesn't feel quite as satisfied when he sees Asmodean grinning over this behavior like, haha, yeah.
Yeah, getting a Forsaken's approval doesn't feel good.
And Avienda, he sees her just staring at him like, what?
The Aiel, they have their games, but they're more straightforward and less manipulative.
Yeah. Rand's just like, hey, I got to do what I got to do. It's a bummer they don't understand, or they approve when I don't want them to. Rand then enters the palace with Avienda and Asmodean. Asmodean in the back with the lesser nobles. Avienda right at his side. She's not letting him away. And Sulin brings 20 of the maidens along as bodyguards. The rest stay outside. As they enter the grand hall, he sees all the Terrans up front, all the Cairhienans forced to the back. Everyone looks a little uneasy, although the Terrans seem a little more expectantly uneasy. Cairhienans a bit in dread. Rand walks between them all up to the front, to the Sun Throne, turns back to the room and asks for a comfortable chair. This thing here, this is for someone else. They're like, ooh, little, murmur.
Who's it for?
What does that mean? A chair is brought out for him, and he sits down and he tries not to sink into it like a collapse because he's still so exhausted. But eases into it. And then he speaks out and he says, why are the Cairhienin in the back? Why are they in the back, Zach?
Well, because for the last little while, they've seen themselves as people who have been beaten and told by the people from Tyr what to do, which is not what Rand told them to come do.
Yeah. You second rate. We important. Shoo.
It's like,
that's all they've had to deal with for a while now. Yeah.
No, I told you to come help.
Right? And that's exactly what he says. Tyr came to help, not to be in charge. Sort yourselves out by rank. And everyone's kind of stunned. No one's entirely happy, but they do. They organize themselves by equivalent ranks in their societies.
So nice of them to have, like, the same system of monarchy across two places enough so that they can actually do that without, like, have you ever tried organizing?
Pattern on medieval Europe. That's not so shocking.
Yeah,
If you think of that.
but you for a long time were a teacher before you went more into administration, right? I'm sure at
Yes.
some point you had your class line up by birthday
Yes.
or even by height.
Sure.
It could take so stupidly long for people to figure out that, and it's super simple. So imagine doing it on a relatively abstract concept like rank.
Yeah.
When
Then
everyone
Rand
thinks
has
they're
a
the most important.
Then Rand has a few announcements. He says, I noticed all these banners of Tyr and the dragon banner flying over Cairhien. Thank you. That is great to see. The Terrans have honor having come to help you. And the Terran lords are like, yeah! And then he says, I don't need so many banners for me. Leave one dragon banner up on the tallest tower, but take the rest down and put Cairhien banners back up on all the rest, because Cairhien is not a conquered land. It has its honor still. And all the Cairhienans cheer even louder, so loud the maidens are like lifting weapons. What's happening? Yeah.
Can we stab people?
So he made the Terrans, yes, he gets us. We have honor. And then the Cairhienans, and you still have honor too. And what? Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that, now it's time for the official ceremony to take place, and all the lords and ladies in turn come forward and swear fealty to the Dragon Reborn by rank. So the highest in rank are first, and the lessers come later. Rand does not like this at all, doesn't care about this, but he knows it's necessary. It's court procedure. Moraine had impressed that into him. You must have the loyalty, so you must have them swear fealty to you in front of everyone else. And he's like, especially as I prepare to take on Samael, I need these people behind me. As the procedure continues, he notes that the nobility coming before him, they're kind of like, they're sweating. They look stressed. They're licking their lips as they approach him. And he doesn't understand. Why are people getting so tense? Why are they getting so tense, Zach?
Rand, you got some serious resting bitch face.
Oh, man. As he's thinking about Samael and all he's going to do, yeah, it is oozing out of him. His eyes are just burning intense. Like, don't eat me. He's scary.
If only they knew.
And that is where we are done with 3 more chapters. Booyah!
Woo! Some of our fastest chapters yet.
First-time readers, thanks for being with us today. I hope you enjoyed this as much as we did, but we're now going to spoil the heck out of some aspects of this. So this is your time to jump ship, get out of here, and come back for next time. Thanks for watching, and we will talk to you next time. For the rest of you, let's see if I can do this right, Zach.
Nope. A little quick on the draw there, Dad.
Okay, I gotta do it again since I blew it.
Are you? Are you gonna do it again? Are you sure? The spoiler room.
There we go. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, I'm going with the big boy this time.
I'm just hoping I didn't crack the floor because I dropped the metal one. Not on my foot.
Okay, that wasn't enough. It rolled over once. Let's try it down here. There we go. Oh, but then it's a worse roll. I have a 5.
I got a 17, so I'm going to be going first.
All right. What do you want to spoil today, my son?
So we talked about Samael. We talked about
He's come up.
Rand. We talked about Ilian. We talked about Rand blowing away some enemies and friendlies when it was necessary at the entrance to Cairhien. So we're going to put all that together and talk about how when Rand does actually kind of go after Samael, one, he does it wrong and ends up with a whole long-winded siege that is unnecessary. And two, he finally goes to show up and he does almost more bad than good. I mean, he shows up, he takes Calendor, he starts throwing lightning around, and then he loses control and starts killing his own people. Like, clearly it doesn't weigh on him as much, but it is kind of a moment of realization of going, crap, I'm not good at controlling this. I should stop killing my own people, especially with lightning. So I think it's really interesting to me that Rand kills the most of his friends with lightning. Like, through the series, I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
You are pretty accurate there. That's not bad.
On his side, he kills with lightning.
Yeah, that is not bad at all.
Balefire? Nah, that thing's dangerous, but he doesn't really kill any friendlies with it.
No. Well,
there's one, kind of, but is it really friendly?
And then there's that whole thing with Grendel, and how many of those in the compound might actually have been friendlies?
No, all of them were so compelled that extreme. But I'm on the side of going, he didn't do that much harm. He did. And it was pointless because he didn't get her. But it didn't do that much harm.
Okay.
Comparatively.
All right, thank you. My spoil is the birth of the Band of the Red Hand. You know, we actually see here Matt leading these men through ridiculous circumstances, and he brings them through again and again so much that the myth is already growing. You know, the belief that he's seeking out the hardest things because he can. But also, those who know leadership the most, like Tomanes, they're looking at what he's doing, and they're going, dang, this dude is lucky. This isn't just brilliance. He's pulling off stuff that shouldn't work and somehow works. And a few of them remember playing cards against him and knowing how lucky he is. So these guys, they swear it in the second of our chapters today that they are with him through thick or thin now. They will follow him anywhere because they believe he'll see them through. They will do it. And I love this element of the Wheel of Time, this whole Band of the Red Hand. It's a beautiful thing. It's always with Matt not wanting any of this. At the same time, there's a little part of him doesn't mind some of it, but he never wants the responsibility.
No.
He comes to enjoy a little lace.
Ultimately, it's a really good part of the books. It's a really good part of Matt's storyline, and it is why we now drink with Jack of the Shadows.
And there is a fine, fine payoff in the last battle that this group has been compiled and has come to follow Matt anywhere. Yep. Plus, Matt's experience leading these men also prepares him well for the last battle. Yeah. So, love it. Here's where it's born, and it was totally a pattern thing. He's meant to be.
But that's all we got.
That's it. So let's run our outro. Let these people off a little easy today.
I'll take it.
It's been a pleasure to be with you guys as always. Here's the reminders of the ways we'd love to hear from you. We love talking to people who listen to our content. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you didn't. Tell us what you agree with and what you don't.
Reach out to us. Interact in any way, shape, or form. Hop on our Discord. Let me know what color you want my mic to be next time. Possibilities are endless.
And we would like to know you. So our Discord server invitation is there. It's the best way to come hang with us. I think that's it then. We'll talk to you next time.